Today we're going to be talking about cinematography for storytelling. What that means is a camera does not just record what happens. It makes the audience feel in a certain way, and it tries to bring about the visual, emotional experience. Today we're going to learn about what supporting story means, choosing the emotional shots, using light, shadow, and framing, maintain visual continuity, and planning and collaborating with other departments. Now, what is the visual mood? The visual mood is the emotional feeling created by the image, atmosphere, and what the whole set looks like. Now, a scene can feel warm and hopeful, cold and lonely, dangerous and tense, dreamlike and spiritual, harsh and realistic, romantic and soft. However, the tools of visual mood differs. Now, light and shadow can help, color and texture can help, angle and lens can help, framing and movement can also help. All these help to tell the mood of a scene. Now, visual storytelling can move from you using different types of shots. Extreme wide shot, medium shot, close-up shot, extreme shot. Now, using these shots give a different feeling. When you use an extreme wide shot, it makes the character feel small, right? And it makes it look lonely, dangerous, isolated. You understand? Weak, abandoned. These are different. There's different meaning to extreme wide shot. But when you come to the extreme shot, it's where we show the full body and environment. Now, it is best for action, movement, relationship between person and place, right? Especially when you have to connect two people together. Now, medium shot actually shows the body language, some facial expressions, but it is best for conversation, right? Calm emotional movement, character interaction. Close-up have to do for fear, pain, realization, tears, hidden emotions, internal conflict, while extreme close-up picks up certain details. Now, camera angles and their meaning. Low angle. When a camera is low, it makes the character look big. When a camera is high, it makes the character looks down or small. Now, when you do over the shoulder, that is your eye level, and then it shows connections between two people talking in a place, right? Now, best for dialogue, tension, conflict, emotional distance. Now, if both characters are in frame, yes, then it shows well. If not, it's not. Now, angle in action. For low angle frame, basically when you have like the president talking, you bring the frame a little bit low. He will be high up on the podium. Then when you want to shoot the audience listening to the president talking, you go up on the podium, go high, and it comes down, the people look a little bit small. Yes, especially when they want to pass a judgment or something. Now, using light to tell the story. Bright light suggests safety, innocence, romance, hope, warmth. Low-key lightning has to do with darkness, trauma, crime, fear, suspense. Harsh light means brutality, conflict, and judgment. While high-key lightning can mean beauty, cleanliness, optimism, and all that, yeah. So now, backlight is to separate you from the background. It's kind of it creates separation. It brings about the heroic outline. It brings about spiritual presence, memory. So you set the light at the back. Mystery, basically. Then silhouette shot. Yes, silhouette shot is when the light is in between, is when the object is in between the light and the camera. That makes the object looks dark, right? And just creates the figure of the object. That's silhouette shot. Now, framing for isolation. Now, character alone in frame, surrounded by empty space, door, frames, walls, or shadows. That means, imagine a small boy in the middle of a desert. That's what framing for isolation looks like. Yeah, framing for correction. Yes, once you're framing for connection, you have to put both characters together, and then they have to speak, sometimes over the shoulders, sometimes same light, same connection, same everything. It makes them look organized, except they are there is a disagreement between them, then you know how to separate them. Light as an emotional language. The cinematographer does not just light a scene so that we can see, but they light it so that we can also feel the scene, right? Now, every lighting choice helps to bring about visual continuity. What that means is, however you shoot it, it will continue that way, right? In the sense that the screen discretion, the matching eye lines, light and color consistency, the 180-degree rule. The 180-degree rule is when everything is behind the imaginary line or stay on one side. Camera must stay on one side, objects and all that must stay on one side. Continuity checklist, matching costumes and props, matching actor position, continuity in camera height, continuity of movement, shot reverse, shot consistency. What that means is that, of course, if a boy kicks a ball from left to right in one shot, the next shot should not show the boy moving right to left, unless the geography is clearly changed for the audience. Now, cinematography for different types of films. Narrative films, emotional lighting, visual symbolism, mood consistency. Skits and short films, clear framing, fast communication, efficient shot list. Adverts and commercials, bright lights everywhere, product visibility, smooth movement. Documentaries and interviews, natural light, stable camera, meaningful cutaways. Narrative films have a lot of emotional lighting, visual symbolism, and short progression. Now, they must support the character, the conflict, the mood, and the theme. Skits, short films, and commercial, just like they said. You need to have bright lights, you need to shoot loud, you need to go short for skits, short to the point. Adverts are almost the same thing, straight to the point, so that we can achieve the message must be passed. Now, documentary and style, the camera must be steady, we have that conversation, people feel the truth, people understand the commercialization of the discussion, and the interview setup is fine, and that's it. Right, let's talk about the collaboration between the director and the DOP. Now, the director is responsible for the story, performance, and overall vision. Define what the film is about emotionally and naturally, narratively, while the DOP translates that vision into camera, lens, movement, lighting, and visual style, responsible for every image the audience sees. Now, a good DOP does not ask, where should I put the camera? A good DOP asks, what does the audience feel in this moment? The director and the DOP must discuss. So you ask me, what are they discussing? The script and the vision. Now, they must discuss the script and the defining visual mood together. Reference and palette, creating visual reference and choosing the color palette. Shoot planning, planning shots, designing lighting, deciding camera movement, on-set problem solving, solving practical location problems, and maintaining visual moods. Now, interpreting scripts visually. To interpret a script visually, read beyond the dialogue, right? Ask deeper questions about what this scene is really communicating. What is the character feeling? Who has power? What should the audience notice first? Should lighting reveal or hide? Script interpretation, wide shots, slow pushing, warm light on others, while the character has a bright light on him, the partial shadow, close up, empty hands. Imagine that's when you want to shoot Okon stands alone as the children receive gifts and Okon does not receive any gift. So you can shoot a wide shot where everybody is seeing everybody, right, including Okon, but we put Okon apart from the group. Then you now slowly push in and get to Okon's face. And then when you push into Okon's face, the children are baited with warm light. Okon has a partial shadow on his light. That's to show that he's not really complete. Something is off somewhere. And then we now do a close-up on his hands where it's empty. Now, it's not just the DOP that will be on set. You have to discuss with every other person. So you've created your short list. You've created everything you need to do. You and your DOP have talked about it. Now, when you want to shoot, you have to make sure you make the announcement quiet on set. The camera is rolling, or some people call it speed. So camera responds, speed. Then you say action. Then the action takes place, and then you say cut. Then you look at it and back to 1, that means reset back to 1, then moving on, that means when you're not shooting again. If everything you took was fine, you say it's moving on. But when you looked at it and it's not it, you say back to 1. So directors and assistant directors must always have a conversation. Gaffer and sound recordist, continuity person rather, art department and production manager. No necessary shouting. I don't like it when people shout on set. No touching equipment without permission of the persons in charge of the equipment. Confirm instructions first. Respect hierarchy. Report problems early. Keep the set safe. Now, cinematography best practices, right? What happens when you want to give a beautiful cinematography? You don't just bring anybody to come and say, come and shoot for me, right? Now, if you have a beautiful shot and the footage is lost, that's horrible. Or out of focus, or overexposed. Now, if the cinematographer just is everywhere, he's not organized. So minus the fact that we want a good cinematographer, let's also be prepared to get somebody who is disciplined, who is safe, who can work with teams, who would protect your footage, and who prepares before set. Now, camera preparation and checks. There's the camera body, sensors, settings, date, time, recording format. You must do all these things. Many people just say, let's shoot like that. No, record all these dates, put the time, put the scene number you're recording. This goes to even the sound person too. Lens, clean the lens, clean the dust, focus and zoom in, working, make sure they are working, properly mounted, make sure you put them well. Check your batteries, check your cards, check your accessories. You must check all these things before you start filming. Now, camera settings checklist. Resolution and frame rate. We must agree on the resolution and frame rate we want to shoot, shutter speed, ISO, white balance, picture profile. We must be able to get all these things. Then audio settings, stabilization, focus, mode, and exposure. All these things needs to be checked, right? I need to tell you, you don't need to overexpose your work. And when you're focusing, is either you're focusing on your subject or on the background. Whoever is on his blood, make sure you know who you're doing, and don't do it like though you have not made up your mind yet. Now, you must have 3 copies of your footage, you must have different storage media, and you must have 1 offsite. What that means is that if you want to shoot a film, you must have 3 copies. 2 of those copies will be different from that 1 copy. 1 of that copy will not be on site. 1 of that copy will be saved somewhere off-site. Now, good backup practice. Label and organize your work very well. Verify copies, keep 1 off-site. So there are different ways to save your file. You choose usually scene name, date of shoot, day of shoot, and all that, name of the film. So please, or the character CU or the whatever it is, but choose the one that fits you. I expect everybody to have professional behaviors on set. Arrive early, repeat, respect the set, protect equipment. Now, lighting safety and best practices. There are a lot of wires, especially when you're setting up light, and you need to be careful for power. You need to have gloves so that you can hold things, because things will be hot, especially with the light. So don't go and turn on the gen if you're not asked to. Usually you should have a walkie-talkie on set so that you can communicate one to another and discuss the plans or what you want to do next. So wires and everything, handle them very well. You understand? Please, for those of us who like drinking pure water, I know it's a thing now, or drinking water bottles and all that, please don't bring it in set. Keep it somewhere away from the equipment, because it could breach and create a spark and fire, and then things get burned down. So please, also we need to manage heat. When people film for a while, they go out and take some fresh air and come back in. I've talked about cable handling. I cannot just keep talking about it, overemphasizing it. You need to roll up cables, keep cables away from work areas, and let things go well. Like lighting setup workflow. Now, block actors, decide camera, key and fill, final checks. So these are the things you need to do. Testing and adjustment, check faces, check shadows, check continuity, record the test, and see what looks like and continue. Now, you must maintain your light consistency. Let the natural changes, especially if the sun comes down, the cloud moves, Try to see if you can bring in artificial lights to achieve same thing. Maybe equipment changes, something happened and they need to change the light. Before we were using a 600D, now you're using a 300D. We need to know how to do that. Human changes. Now actor moving out of light and coming back, know how to set the lights to accommodate them. Camera changes. Maybe also you're shooting, we ran out of funds, we need to change camera. You need to also understand the lighting to fit. When you're shooting with mobile already helps low budget lighting. What that means is that with your mobile, in a place that is not even well lit, it gives you a good light, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't use light. So yes, when you bring in light, use basic lights around you, bring in light and push up your mobile to give you a good picture that you want. With mobile, in case you don't have so much money, with small lights, like I've said, use reflectors, use diffusers to achieve the same shots that you need to shoot. So don't say you need 12 tons of thousands of naira to start. Start with what you have. Smartphone accessories, for those of you who just want to do it yourself, you can just get a white box or white, or get that white stuff that is when you buy a TV, that white stuff that comes out. You can go to any electronic shop, beg them for it, get it. Use that as reflector, right? Now, there are some aluminum foils that you have. Buy aluminum, put it on a wood, use it as reflectors. You can bounce it even off as white walls to bounce back at the face. So if you want a diffuser, you can get a white bed sheet, shower curtain, all this tracing paper. Just buy tracing paper, put it in front of the camera. It diffuses your light. Now, but don't place the paper close to the light so it doesn't get burned, all right? Yeah, so you can shoot close to the windows. Then shoot golden hour, use a shade, use laser, place actors in a beautiful scenery around the light if you must shoot interior and you don't have so much light, so you can use close to the windows. I need you to understand that every shot is a choice. Yeah, mood is built, not found. Continuity protects the story, professionalism enables creativity, right? Prepare before you shoot. I cannot overemphasize that. Prepare before you shoot. Protect your footage. Safety is non-negotiable. Now, low budget may not necessarily mean low quality, right? There are DIYs you can use to achieve what you want, right? Now, the camera is your voice. Use your camera to say what happens, right? And let people feel it through the lens, right? Thank you very much, and God bless you. See you next time.